Progressive Party does not want me as a leader.
The FBI is doing your investigation. Some aspect is coming back.
Wealth is not trickling down to the people of Guyana.
There will be additional questioning that is required. And that is, of course, I don't get involved with that.
Yeah, brother.
It is important for Venezuela to understand that Guyana will be bullied, threatened, or intimidated.
Hello, good morning. Here.
I'm here to check that
Yeah, brother.
This man tell me.
I am aware that the People's Progressive Party does not want me as a leader.
Here.
the FBI is doing your investigation. Some aspect is coming back.
Wealth is not trickling down to the people of Guyana.
There will be additional questioning that is required. And that is, of course, I don't get involved with that.
Yeah, brother.
It is important for Venezuela to understand that Guyana will not be bullied, threatened, or intimidated.
Hello, good morning. Here.
I'm here to check that
Yeah, brother.
This man tell me.
I am aware that the People's Progressive Party does not want me as a leader.
Here.
The FBI is doing your investigation. Some aspect is coming back.
Wealth is not trickling down to the people of Guyana.
There will be additional questioning that is required. And that is, of course, I don't get involved with that.
Yeah, brother.
It is important for Venezuela to understand that Guyana will not be bullied, threatened, or intimidated.
Hello, good morning. Here.
I'm here to check that
Yeah, brother.
This man tell me.
I am aware that the People's Progressive Party does not want me as a leader.
Here.
The FBI is doing your investigation. Some aspect is coming back.
Wealth is not trickling down to the people of Guyana.
There will be additional questioning that is required. And that is, of course, I don't get involved with that.
Yeah, brother.
It is important for Venezuela to understand that Guyana will not be bullied, threatened, or intimidated.
Hello, good morning. Here.
I'm here to check that
Yeah, brother.
This man tell me.
I am aware that the People's Progressive Party does not want me as a leader.
Here.
The FBI is doing your investigation. Some aspect is coming back.
Wealth is not trickling down to the people of Guyana.
There will be additional questioning that is required. And that is, of course, I don't get involved with that.
Yeah, brother.
It is important for Venezuela to understand that Guyana will not be bullied, threatened, or intimidated.
Hello, good morning. Here.
I'm here to check that
Yeah, brother.
This man tell me.
I am aware that the People's Progressive Party does not want me as a leader.
Here.
The FBI is doing your investigation. Some aspect is coming back.
Wealth is not trickling down to the people of Guyana.
There will be additional questioning that is required. And that is, of course, I don't get involved with that.
Yeah, brother.
It is important for Venezuela to understand that Guyana will not be bullied, threatened, or intimidated.
Hello, good morning. Good evening, guys. A great evening to all of those who tune in to this special edition of Progress Report. Now, as you know, I am a journalist, could be an entertainer at times, but there's certain times when there are things that are of a serious nature that has to be dealt with. Likewise, very concerning. Very, very concerning events have arisen in Guyana. One of the things about good governance is the people who sometimes task themselves with holding those who are in government, who are in the judicial system, accountable. Good governance is highly dependent on a number of moving parts. And funny enough, some of the people who hold elected officials accountable are persons who are not elected. Sometimes they're selected, like myself. Like Freddie Kissoon. You write columns, you write articles, you critique on things. People tend to not like to be exposed. So, if somebody chooses to expose wrongdoings, it causes people to change their ways. The world over, journalists, reporters, whatever you want to call them, talk show hosts, once they expose things, they're seen a certain way as being a part of media, whatever role they play, and they're respected likewise. Very important role. Here where there becomes a breakdown in the process. When, as old people would say, you put cat for watch milk. Today the center of our discussion will be a man who presented himself as an intellectual. A man who has critiqued on the government and claimed to have a good background of what corruption looks like. I present to you GHK Lall, as he has presented himself over the years. After many years of what we have found out now to be a diversion tactic of writing, crying wolf, acting as a sheep who is actually only in sheep clothing, GHK Lall has now been exposed. Now, many of you might have heard of GHK Lall, but never saw the gentleman. The first time GHK Lall made a prominent entrance into the media was on a Travis Chase interview, where he tried to clear his name after I publicly called him out. It is not to say he has not been called out before. Joel Bagwendin, somebody with a good economic and financial background, called him out because he claimed he was part of an accredited accounting process that was untrue. And after just a little bit of digging, so much has been now uncovered about GHK Lall. Gabriel Hilary Kincaid Lall. Funny enough, before Lall published a book in 2012, he was never heard about. Nobody knew who was GHK Lall. When GHK Lall published his book and pounced on the scene, of Guyanese politics. He presented himself as someone who came from Wall Street. GHK Lall, who was never heard about before, never known. There is very little digital record of GHK Lall. Had migrated since the 80s. And we have now found out was ducking and hiding in the United States of America. Now what we have uncovered as it relates to GHK Lall's background, Gabriel Hilary Kincaid Lall, what we have now uncovered, I will delve into. I will delve into his history and how he became into being. You got the paper for me, boy? When GHK Lall returned to Guyana, he presented himself to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a U.S. citizen who wanted to remigrate, who wanted to come back to Guyana. At the time, he stated he was living in Flushing, New York. He stated he was qualified with a BBA. I have not been forged out of academia and have never claimed to be an intellectual. So bear in mind, you guys use Google and research it, because it sounds like a very important thing that Mr. Lall thinks he is. So in presenting to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Guyana, Mr. Lall presented himself as qualified with a BBA. I think that's a bachelor's in business of some sort. Then he said he had an MBA, another bachelor's, or a master's, I think that would be in business. And he said he was CFA certified. As of today's date, since GHK Lall came back to Guyana and surfaced in 2008, as of today's date, there is no certification. There is no documentation to suggest he has a BBA, a MBA, or was CFA certified. On behalf of the citizenry of Guyana, who GHK Lall duped for years into believing he was an academic, we are asking, sir, for you to produce your credentials. It is a simple thing to do. This man has purported to have an economic and political background, affording him the opportunity to dissect the inner workings of the government of Guyana. In retrospect, he has foisted himself on the government through Kaichor News and Stabrook News columns and Demerara Waves columns as a person of integrity that will use that integrity to hold the government accountable. Today, Mr. GHK Lall, we are asking you to substantiate the credibility of your integrity. It would be interesting if you could tell Guyanese which university you attained the BBA at, which university you attained your MBA at, and where is your CFA history? We move on. Mr. Lall, when returning to Guyana, presented himself as an internal regulator who worked with the compliance office of the Dutch Bank. Whose head office and office of Mr. Lall was at 60 Wall Street. He also told the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that he worked there for 20 years. I can tell you, the people at Deutsche Bank has never seen, except for if he was a Canon copy machine somewhere stacked away in a corner of an office. You can't be working at the organization for 20 years and nobody knows you. Mr. Lall, the Guyanese citizenry is asking you to come and be clean with us. Now, this is a very, what must I say, prestigious organization. These organizations have regulatory bodies overseeing them and operate at some of the highest standards in financing in the world. Today we perused, and I'm giving you the opportunity, Mr. Lall, of which you already knew you had. You have access to the Kaicho News and Stabrook News hit papers, and you also have the opportunity at any time you wish to post articles in Demerara Waves because of your personal association with Demerara Waves. You have that opportunity. You could piece together an article, tell Guyanese about your 20 years working experience on Wall Street at the Deutsche Bank, in the compliance office as an internal regulator. You could write a piece about your BBA, MBA, and your lacking of the ability to show your CFA credentials or history. You're afforded that opportunity. But let's not linger on when you returned to Guyana, Mr. Lall. As much as that is one of the biggest farces of your recent history in Guyana. Because today's centerpiece of our discussion is your recent history as early as 2008. 2008. Your recent history. We have not started digging. I've not gone into that level yet. Soon you will have information returning from Flushing, New York, anywhere you would have lived. Because so far, your history in New York suggests you had 2 social security numbers. There are a number of instances and reasons for things like that. But in most cases, law enforcement out of the United States of America suggests some fraud would have caused that. And we move on. After presenting Guyanese with a book about corruption and all, GHK Lall went on to become the head of the Guyana Gold Board. A man who was not on the scene fighting for Guyanese. A man who just claimed he had the experience. but give no. Who gives? Every academic walks with their credentials like a badge of honor. You just go and say, oh, you got a BBA and an MBA, and every academic. Where are your credentials, Mr. Lall? You, the man who we now realize was creating a diversion. Is Mr. Lall a prolific con man who worked in the seams and in the dark over the years that the PNC realized they could have used to help the Mohammeds carry on this grand scheme of gold smuggling? Who? What is Mr. Lall's history? What is his background? How did he come to attain the position of head of the Guyana Gold Board? Who recommended him? What was expected of him? How under this man's tenure, a man who has had such a stellar piece together background, how it is only under his tenure that 10,000, 9,000 kilograms of gold was seen to be siphoned off, smuggled under his tenure, with him not knowing, after being an internal regulator at the bank, one of the most prestigious banks in the world. Mr. Lall, today we have more questions about you than answers. We move on. Mr. Lall came into Guyana. He wrote a book. He became friends with Stabrook News and Kaicho News. He made friends. They start shaking people down, writing stories about people attacking the government. Daily research. Created a fear that people thinking he has to be of stellar character. Nobody would be so vicious. That is the same thing everybody thought about every Ponzi king. That is the same thing about every con man. The con is so elaborate, one cannot believe it's a con. That is the mystery. These cons have played out from the beginning of time. It's not now. It is from the beginning of time. These cons have been played out. And every decade, there are men who think they're smart that come along and deceive the multitudes. Because there are period of times where people are looking for things to believe in. Like the fact that there's massive corruption. But what GHK Lall did is set up a massive deflection from where the real corruption was. All Mr. Lall has to come and do today is produce his credentials, and he'll get apologies. He would get apologies. We are presently TBN investigative crew. By the way, it's a one man. We just bigging it up. Since we dep on it, we ain't got no MBA. We got the investigative crew of one. Yes, I must give myself some bit of importance. This is within 5 years, I've uncovered 2 Ponzi schemes. Must give me some sort of respect. What a beautiful cup of tea. By the way, this cup was presented for me. It's from Doha. Oh, what an esteemed place. Mr. Lall, you came and Guyanese were looking for a savior. And where else to look than in the bosom of a fictional writer who is an elaborate conman, who made up his whole history and came back to Guyana like a knight in shining certificates. Well, Mr. Lall, today that all comes to an end. The naysayers might have a lot to say, but you have nothing to worry about. All you have to produce is your qualification, your certificate. Show which university you went to. We are presently reaching out to Deutsche Bank to find out who knows you and what years you were there. What was retirement like at Deutsche Bank? So we move on. Mr. Lall, after presenting himself as someone with stellar character, who only turned out to be a quasi-intellectual, got a position, was given the position at the head of the Guyana Gold Board by the now opposition that consider themselves to be persons of a fair understanding of what corruption looks like. They took Mr. Lall, who before 2008 was a myth, and they placed him at the head of an organization that oversees and manages one of Guyana's greatest resources, gold, the Guyana Gold Board. Bear in mind, that is not before Mr. Lall came and attained local documentation, of which when he presented himself to get his ID card, he presented himself as an attorney at law. GCOM public documents could attain to that. How many scams can one man run? So he's an attorney by day and an accountant by night? Which is it, Mr. Lall? Are you guys keeping count of the amount of lies? BBA lie, MBA lie, CFA lie, 20 years in Wall Street, another lie, regulator lie, Deutsche Bank lie, attorney lie, Mr. Lall, over the years, have you ever had an opportunity to tell Guyanese one bit of truth? We continue. You work at the Guyana Gold Board. What would be the unraveling of what now is becoming one of the biggest cons of the decade? Bob and Weave get a job at the Guyana Gold Board. Talking about the government and corruption. Then there came an indictment in the United States of America that listed Nazar Mohammed and Azzedine Mohammed as two persons who participated in the smuggling of gold from Guyana, 10,000 kilograms of gold for the period of 2017 to 2024. So everybody is asking, who was there? Who played a role? Azzedine Mohammed and Nazar Mohammed have known to be and always thought to be affiliated with the PPP. Friends of the PPP. It has to be the PPP and them who did this. Just a little bit of digging suggested that the Mohammeds through the years 2021 and 2023 smuggled 165, 2021 2 times, 2023 2 times. There's no listing for 2022 here. By the way, the United States have been investigating this matter since 2017. Again, a reminder. 2017, the PNC headed a coalition that was in government from 2015 to 2020. This investigation started in 2017 and went all the way to 2024 when the Mohammeds were sanctioned June the 11th, 2024. So, from this document, it is suggested that while PPP was in power, today is not a call-in program. While PPP was in power, 2021 and 2023, there were 4 cases where 165 kilograms of gold was smuggled out of Guyana through Miami to Dubai. Those 4 instances come up to 660 kilograms of gold. From calculations, bear in mind, and this is to be favorable to the previous administration. This is to give them favor. Remember March the 2nd was elections. It took 5 months after for the PPP to come into government. Sometime in October. So 2020 was still run by the PNC. But let us say in 2020, the last part of 2020, when the PPP came into power, 340 kilograms of gold was smuggled. Adding up the gold that was smuggled to under the PPP administration to 1,000 kilograms. I am giving GHK Lall and the previous administration the benefit of the doubt. Former Natural Resources Minister Raphael Trotman, the benefit of the doubt. I throw it for the PPP. 340 kilograms of gold more in them. Now, sanctions and indictments suggest that the investigation from 2017 to 2024 covered 10,000 kilograms of gold, leaving us with 9,000 9,000 kilograms of gold unaccounted for between 2017 and 2020. No. The PNC was in government. But who was the head of the Guyana Gold Board? Yours truly. Yours truly, GHK Lall, was the head of the Guyana Gold Board. When it was its height of corruption. Yours truly, when faced with that and confronted with the indictments, that not only these indictments don't only state that the Mohammeds were smuggling gold, they also stated that the Guyana Gold Board played an active role and the Guyana Revenue Authority in assisting them to smuggle that gold. Active role. GHK Lall, in an attempt to cover up and bring ease to the Mohammed's name, did an interview with no other than questionable Travis Chase, another questionable character who somehow has always had access to the underworld and has special interviews with criminals. Only recently, before this interview, he had an interview with a man who come and said he know of the president's wife mother getting money and he participated in gold smuggling. Travel is smuggling. And he knows Venezuelan military was smuggling gold where they was carrying it. The interview that Travis Chase had is with a man named Azim Baksh, who we now realize participated in massive gold smuggling. Common said that. GHK Lall, in an attempt to explain his way out of the conundrum that he found himself in, went and did an interview with Travis Chase. Let's just listen to a piece of this.
Thank you again, Mr. Chase. It is good to have a forum, an opportunity to share with all Guyanese, from the government to the common citizen, the facts, the circumstances behind my time, surrounding my time at the Guyana Gold Board, and even beyond.
Now, let's stop there. The main fact, you heard him accept that he was at the Guyana Gold Board. Now, me tell you, GHK Lall, let me put it to you now. This here, open them up, let's see them properly, is Travis Chase. As GHK Lall and Travis Chase sits and do an interview, as Travis Chase gives GHK Lall a forum to explain to the Guyanese people how he did not participate in the smuggling of 9,000 kilograms of gold. And next story start. Because it is seemingly that Travis Chase and GHK Lall don't know one another. Travis Chase is just a regular journalist, and GHK Lall is a man who come in hard times and wanted an opportunity to explain himself. But that's the furthest from the truth, because GHK Lall and Travis Chase got history, got a long history. Let me lead you into that history. The Gold Board issued Travis Chase, a journalist with a sketchy background, a director and a company, issued them license to export gold. This is the document. This is the statement here. If you go to the Guyana Gold Board page, May the 3rd, 2019, a license was issued to Adolphus Mining, of which this is Adolphus, and this is Travis Chase, of which is a director. And actually the principal man for the company, but just put another man in front. When confusion erupted, bear in mind, this gold license was issued in 2019 under GHK Lall's tenure. When confusion erupted, GHK Lall and no less than Raphael Trotman came and represented Adolphus Mining not granted special concession and license approval. Independent review of Gold Board records fine. Adolphus and Travis Chase was given a license under GHK Lall's tenure. So imagine they're talking about gold smuggling and corruption, and GHK Lall trying to clear a name on Travis Chase program. It even become a more elaborate con. Let me get other pieces of the story for you. The Guyana Gold Board defends export license granted to minor caught with 30 pounds of gold. The man was caught with 30 pounds. 30 pounds of gold in 2011. And himself and another questionable character, two all scam, were able to get a license to export gold in 2019, 8 years after. I can't make up these things if I wanted to. By the way, all that I'm presenting to you is in the public domain. These are articles. This is not my makeup. I'm piecing it together. I am not a GHK Lall. I don't write fictional things and pass it off as fact. I am presenting to you evidence that might have flown over your head. Next article. Guyana Gold Board clears air on dealer license granted to man held with 30 pounds of gold. This is in 2019. GHK Lall represented his wrongdoing. Bear in mind, nobody knew that at the time the gold was smuggling out like mad. Travis Chase would have known. Travis Chase is a close associate of the Mohammeds. I have accused him of being a Maduro Mohammed agent. So it is a network of criminals that pass off themselves as professionals and are actually quasi intellectuals and academics. More articles. From different news sources. This here is the Guyana Gold Board issuing a public statement. Notice authorized gold dealers of Guyana Gold Board updated. Further to our previous notice in February 2019, the Guyana Gold Board wishes to notify general public that Adalphus Mining was on March 26, 2019 licensed as a gold dealer in accordance with the Guyana Gold Board Act, Chapter 6601, Section 9. As such, there are now 9 licensed gold dealers authorized to act as agents for the Guyana Gold Board. Adalphus Mining is Travis Chase and the Adalphus boy. 2 men with sketchy background was able to go and get a gold license under GHK Lall, a man who came from the regulatory body of Deutsche Bank, 20 years in the compliance office. Bear in mind, this is the least of Guyanese concerns. We are trying to figure out the 9,000 kilograms of gold. We just done it up on the side. Recently, as recent as a few days ago, let me see, I'm trying to get US flags Mohammed for good. So this is the article by Trotman. So this article recently, in an attempt to wiggle his way out, former Gold Board chairman says US Embassy provided names of specific gold smugglers. Suspected gold smugglers, sorry. But he did say Mohammed's name. He didn't see Mohammed's name on the list. In 2017, he accepted that he was presented with a dossier. If it is not Mohammed brought him and placed him in that position to rape the coffers of this country, well, then it might have been in 2017 when presented with documents that Mr. GHK Lall might have presented himself to the Mohammeds and said, look, I have this. How can we work together? Can you come and clear that up? We're not sure. There's a lot of allegations left unanswered outside of your credibility, Mr. Lall. Can you come and clear that up for us? Mr. Lall said he never met the Mohammeds, he never see the Mohammeds, he never know the Mohammeds, he never see nothing. A man who spends all his days and hours seeking out corruption in dark places that he has never been. A man who sat at the helm of the Guyana Gold Board and never saw corruption for the years he was there. As we have now found out in indictments out of a southern Florida court that is under GHK Lall, the Guyana Gold Board was at its height of corruption. Documented facts. We have gone past the concerns of the credibility of Mr. Lall's qualifications. We have gone into the siphoning off of billions of Guyana dollars from the taxpayers. That is where we are. In an attempt to come and try to gerrymander the process, Mr. Lall came up with a flimsy explanation that he got a dossier and he gave Trotman and he didn't see the Mohammed's names. Listen to what Trotman said immediately after. Trotman, who was the minister of natural resources at the time, said US flagged Mohammed's other gold smugglers during APNU government former minister. Trotman came and cleared his name. No. Demerara Waves has been always in favor of GHK Lall. Affords him an opportunity to share his opinion. Now, Demerara Waves have found out themselves and has uncovered Lall as a conman and a liar. How will Demerara Waves treat articles being published by GHK Lall? Demerara Waves have always found favor with GHK Lall, but now since them themselves, the first article where GHK Lall said he didn't see Mohammed's name, and this article where Trotman said yes, because the direct documents that GHK Lall collected, he said he gave it to Trotman. Trotman said yes, he received documents and Mohammed's name was on there. GHK Lall was found lying. Demerara Waves, in an attempt to maintain credibility, had to publish both stories. How will Dennis Chabral and Demerara Waves treat GHK Lall, given that he's been found to be a confounded liar and fraud? That is yet to be seen. This is how you're going to look at news organizations and know their credibility. By association, we're going to look at what GHK Lall produces in Stabrook News. And if seeing this, knowing that he's a fraud, knowing that he doesn't have any credibility, and still put him to share his opinion, which now is found to be a hitman's opinion, we know Stabrook News and Kiteshore News and Demerara Waves are part and parcel of a fraudulent process. We move on. There are not enough hours in a day to tell you stories about GHK Lall's deception. At least not in today. I could go on and decipher things. Presenting himself as a lawyer, presenting qualifications that don't exist. GHK Lall never before presented himself. He always stayed in the shadow. But this here, you know why this ruffled his feathers? He's a US citizen. I don't know if he still is. Because you can't trust anything he says any longer. These indictments that suggested the Guyana Gold Board and the Guyana Revenue Authority played an integral role. I'm presently working on which unit of the Guyana Revenue Authority played a part in assisting. We're going to be calling names from the Guyana Revenue Authority very soon. Which part and unit of the Guyana Revenue Authority deals with these kinds of matters as it relates to gold export that under the tenure of the PNC and GHK Lall's tenure of the Gold Board, it wasn't export, it was smuggling with the Mohammeds. So the investigation continues. I have presented you guys with enough information, all now public information. If GHK Lall cares to come and answer, he could tell the Guyanese public I will get down to the bottom of this as it relates to his neighbors, his workmates, his family members. I will look for the bugs that was in his clothes and the mites that was in his books. Because all he had to bring back was a microwave, an old Pathfinder Jeep, some books and some clothes. After being with such an esteemed organization on Wall Street, he came down to a microwave, some clothes, some books, and an old Pathfinder. Everything might have been held in the Pathfinder, by the way. Can Mr. Lall give account for the wealth that he's acquired since he is in Guyana? These questions have been presented to you, the citizenry of this country. It would be fair, given who Mr. Lall has presented himself to be, an upstanding person of stellar character who has a cunning ability to seek out corrupt officials. It is your time now to clear the air, Mr. Lall. I must say we are looking forward to the opportunity when you would be able to prove the Guyanese critic wrong. Please and thank you.